for me personally, there's only 2 contenders in the NFC: Tampa Bay and the Rams. The Green Bay Packers
San Fran, you have to throw in that conversation.
The Green Bay Packers.
You got to wait and see.
He cut me off before I could say that.
This is what I'm saying though.
But with Jimmy G, they were a contender last season.
You don't know if Trey Lance could be worse or better than Jimmy G.
You don't, but at the same time, you understand that they have the roster in place to do so. But it's all on Lance.
QB is important.
Oh no, for sure, King.
The most important. This is what I'm saying. The Rams in Tampa Bay, a lot of things can go wrong for them, and they can still make it to the Super Bowl. For Green Bay, everything has to go right. For San Fran, everything has to, for the most part, go right. And those other teams I have in there that they could compete, Minnesota.
I don't agree with that point with San Fran, and I don't mean it like a strong disagreement.
Only one thing
but I say that
right.
because not everything went right for them last postseason run, and they went to the NFC Championship game. You know, so I feel like not everything definitely has to go right for them to be a contender. Just Trey Lance has to do a job.
You're right, but the teams they faced in the playoffs were teams that
Green Bay.
But Green Bay is one of those teams that everything had to go right for them. So
last year, you think so?
That was just an outlier. Green Bay was just so bad that playoff game too.
And
the Cowboys too.
The
Cowboys too is another one.
The weather made it a bad matchup too.
But that should have favored Green Bay. Like they're the one that plays in Lambeau.
But San Fran has that run game.
Yeah.
That's why
they have A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones.
The Cowboys played great all season long. The Cowboys almost won that game also, but at the same time, San Fran went in there and played great football.
That was a 50-50 matchup, though. I thought, but like again, going into it, everybody knew San Fran was a bad matchup for them.
But let's just continue on to the point. Not everything had to go right for them to win. You understand what I'm saying?
I think you're overanalyzing what I'm saying.
No, I'm just utilizing the facts.
The Rams and Tampa Bay have a lot of leeway in terms of things that can happen to them, and they can still make it far.
As does San Fran.
Not really, because San Fran...
We just saw them go to the NFC Championship with that exact statement
and they faced a team in the Rams that they had more wiggle room, and that's why they lost.
I mean, they were pretty damn close to winning the game also. And they beat the best team in the NFC that year. Last season, excuse me.
Did you have Green Bay as the best team in the NFC?
I had the Rams personally.
Okay.
But a lot of people had the Packers going to the Super Bowl. You had the Packers winning the Super Bowl.
I think as of right now, Green Bay, we don't put them in that conversation anymore.
This is super hindsight.
It's not just super hindsight. It's the fact they lost Devontae Adams.
Yeah, but last year they had Tay.
I know they had Tay, but Green Bay has shown for
if you're talking about this year, I'm with you.
Green Bay has shown for the
last year, you can't say that.
Green Bay has shown for the last 3 seasons they don't
show up in the playoffs.
They don't show up,
especially
in the
against
biggest
the Niners.
moments.
They lost twice against them.
And the 2019
2019
NFC Championship, what happens? They get ran all over on. Very next year versus Tom Brady, he beats them in the NFC Championship. Now this past year, they lose. Now they just lost their elite level wide receiver.
All physical teams
the
stop the
Green
run.
Bay,
I'm just talking about last season.
They are green. No, we're talking about this season. Though. Right now, this season. That's why I don't view them as that contender.
Okay, I don't disagree.
I put Green Bay in the bubble with a lot of NFC teams. The NFC has 2 contenders: Tampa Bay, LA, the Rams.
I would throw San Fran.
A bunch of teams are in the bubble. San Fran's in the bubble.
I think San Fran's
Dallas is in the bubble.
I agree.
Green Bay's in the bubble. Minnesota's in the bubble.
Because if Lance is good, they're dangerous.
Can I hear your teams in the bubble again?
If Lance is good, San Francisco is a dangerous team. The only thing we're questioning is Trey Lance. If he could show anything what he did in college, and I like the 2 games he started. I know we have disagreements over it. I really like the 2 games I saw. He was able to make throws out of the pocket, be mobile. He's not going to be asked to do a ton. Kyle Shanahan's going to have plenty of run plays, read options for him as well to get comfortable. So if Trey Lance is good, we're just expecting him to be okay. We're not sure. If he ends up being good, we know how great his ceiling is.
What type of good are you talking about, though?
He has to
be better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
He has to, because if he's just good, if he's
in that 15 to 20 range of quarterbacks,
if he's just up to maybe Jimmy Garoppolo, they're not going to the Super Bowl.
No, but he does. The offense is different with Trey Lance.
Was Jimmy G in the 15?
Statistically, it's fine. Statistically, he's probably not going to be. He's not going to be as good as Jimmy G. Maybe he gets more like total touchdowns. Jimmy G had like a 69% completion percentage, almost fourth that. Like he had a really good year last year. I just think maybe total touchdowns there because the rushing yards.
He could put up a crazy stat
I was going to say total yards you get passing and rushing. He'll probably be close, but he just unlocks a different part of the offense where everything becomes very explosive.
These are my teams in a bubble.
That's what I want to hear.
The Niners are in the bubble because their defense is great. I love their defense. Their offensive line got significally worse. You're
right.
I scoffed at a face that when
I said solid offensive line.
I scoffed when you said good offensive line. They lost Laken Tomlinson.
Fran?
No, they lost. Yeah.
They lost Laken Tomlinson, a Pro Bowl guard. They lost Alex Mack. That's their interior of their offensive line.
You still have the best left tackle in the game.
It's
and,
huge. It's huge.
I mean, that's huge, but the interior offensive line is deteriorating.
I don't disagree, but
Like that's huge.
what makes up for it is that Trey Lance is mobile. Thankfully.
Yes, but
I was
it's,
also say Shanahan's run scheme.
that also is true.
I think
Run guys
a
open.
quarterback, especially like Trey Lance, who can run out of situations, pressure up the middle is far more difficult to manage than pressure from the boundaries.
But we've seen Kyler do it for years.
That's and
They have
we've
different
had
type of speed, but I think they both have really good
and we've
Lance
had
bigger.
ability.
Lance is
we've
bigger,
had
too.
we've had a lot of conversation with mobile quarterbacks allowing for leeway when it comes to poor offensive line. You'd love it for sure. You'd
That's
love to have a great
that's
offensive
why,
line.
as of right now, like I'm not trying to project Trey Lance. As of right now,
It's
where we
tough.
stand,
Yeah, it's tough.
the Niners are not contenders. They are a question mark. They are a question mark because Trey Lance is a question mark.
Who would you be?
They are a question mark because the offensive line is going to be
Who would be your
average.
third team though? We got the Rams and the Bucks. Who's the third team? Like the third contender?
Has to be Niners.
It's
That's what
Minnesota.
you think it's Minnesota?
It's Minnesota.
There we go.
Okay. Gotta see improvement on defense.
You just
gotta see improvement. On
I just
defense.
don't know if I can believe
Here
you
we go.
sometimes when you just
Offensively, I
sit
think they're
there
gonna
and
be
you
great,
smirk when you say
But
something.
defensively,
Like, look
I
at that.
gotta
That
see it.
face is
You're
not one
he
that
doesn't
believes
believe
I mean,
it.
if you want to take it back, you could take
Look,
it back.
look, I want to believe in Minnesota. On
bad.
paper, it should be them.
That's what I'm
gonna be
saying,
honest.
yes.
It should be them.
Like they're the third contender, and we don't know anything about Trey Lance. That's what I'm saying.
But
If
this
he
is what I'm
does
saying.
get there-
Teams in the bubble for me are Minnesota, are San Fran, Green Bay. You have to put in there. Philadelphia. Their roster
Philly.
is Super Bowl ready. If Hurts is better than what I think he is, yeah, they are. They can be contenders.
Music to my
And then
ears.
and then
I'm
the
ready
other
for Philly,
team
man.
is I think you can't sleep on Dallas. I think Dallas is
Fair.
still in there. Dallas is still
Gotta
in
respect
there.
them. You
Yeah.
gotta respect them.
So there. That's what I'm saying. Like there's
but you didn't say
two
Green Bay?
teams.
he
He
did.
did.
I
Oh,
did.
okay.
So that's what I'm saying. There's two teams at the top that I'm like, yeah, there's a gap between them and everybody else.
I feel you.
And then there's these teams in the bubble, like Minnesota. If they hit
Fran.
their peak, they can be better than San
But
Fran.
what's their
they
peak
can be
defensively?
They
Offensively,
just
we
got
know.
Zadarius Smith. They
I
still
know,
have
but-
Daniil Hunter. They still have Dalvin Tomlinson. They have Eric Kendricks
Are
at
they,
linebacker.
are they a top 15 defense with the peak?
I think they are. Yeah, I think they are.
Oh.
If their defensive line stays healthy, they are.
Wait, so when you say in the bubble teams, what do you mean?
If a couple things go right, they are contenders. Like based on the season, like in the middle
And
of the
we
year.
sure we putting Dallas in that conversation?
Yeah, I have to put Dallas in.
I feel like we
don't see
know
Dallas
what they
like that.
are at this
I don't see
point.
Dallas like that.
But
I see Dallas like that because I think the defense is going to be improved, and I think Micah Parsons is going to take another step forward. And he's a guy who's a wrecking, like he wrecks a game. He's a game wrecker.
He is not. Listen, Micah
Trayvon
Parsons
Diggs is the same way.
Yes, they're both fantastic, but I mean, I feel like losing Amari Cooper is going to be huge. We know we've seen Dak
gotta
with
see
and
what's
without
up with-
Amari.
We got to see what's up with this Minnesota defense, man.
Look at their roster. On
I know
paper.
that's what I'm looking at right now. Like, you draft scene, that's cool. Cameron Dantzler is solid. Patrick Peterson, I don't love.
But look at this. I just look.
Jordan Hicks Smith is
They
cool.
signed Harrison Phillips, who was a top 5 run defender in football this past season, and that's where they struggled last year. Dalvin Tomlinson, Daniil Hunter, Zadarius Smith, Eric Kendricks, Jordan Hicks, Patrick Peterson, Cameron Dantzler, Harrison Smith, Andrew Booth from
That's
the draft.
potential. It has
Like,
potential.
they-
Andrew Booth, facts.
Everything
Andrew
goes.
Booth, I forgot.
Everything goes. Louis Cine, I didn't mention.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything
The rookies
goes
could play a
right.
big part in the secondary.
Everything goes right. This team is scary, and we know what their offense is. Like Kirk Cousins is going to give you a 100 passer rating. Jefferson, if we think he's going to be the best receiver in football this year,
I'm not worried about the offense. I know it's gonna be
The
top 10.
offense is going to be really good.
I think the offense will be top 10.
I think the defense. I think Mike Zimmer lost control of that team late. He lost control of that team already last season, and it was already happening. I think this year with the new coach, it brings some new life into Minnesota. They're one of those teams that I see making a big time jump, and we've seen from these coaches from the Sean McVay coaching tree, they come into
Yep.
teams and they change the culture immediately.
succeed.
So I'm looking at Minnesota, a ready to win roster. You don't have to rebuild much. You just have to add some sprinkles. That's why I think they can compete for sure.
do you
I believe in
remember who they
Minnesota.
hired as DC?
They hired the guy that was with the Rams. I'm blanking on his name right now.
Ed Donatel.
Yeah, Ed Donatel. He was with he was part of the coaching staff for the Rams.
Alright. Cool.
But yeah, that's where but Trey Lance does have the most pressure, I believe, in my opinion.
I do think
From
it's
this draft
Of-
class for
of
sure.
the draft
I do
class.
think it's unfair pressure though, because he's not going to be able to make mistakes as a rookie. Well, as a second-year player, because this team is trying to make the playoffs. Like they want to win right now.
And no one else is in Super Bowl contention. on the
And,
rookie.
yeah, and they'll probably
Second-year
Jimmy G
player.
will probably be gone, so their backup's probably gonna be shitty.
Yeah.
Damn.
Jimmy G's
Good luck, Trey Lance.